and welcome to the 2020 Department of Labor and Industry Rehabilitation Update. We are very excited you are joining us today. I appreciate your willingness, we appreciate your willingness to adjust as we're doing the rehab update in a new sort of way through Webex. And again, I appreciate your ability to adjust, to work with us in this new format in doing the update. Let me start out by introducing myself. I'm Chris Leifeld, and I will act as the moderator of today's program. I'll be joined by Mike Hill. Many of you certainly know Mike Hill. Mike is a longtime serving DLI, the department's Rehabilitation Policy Specialist. I have been with the department since 2010. I had served in the roles of Director of the Vocational Rehabilitation Unit earlier in my tenure at the department, and then also as Director of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Unit. More recently, prior to becoming Director of the Compliance Records and Training Unit in 2018, I served for approximately 3 years as the Deputy Commissioner of the department, overseeing the Workers' Compensation Division. So let's begin with the conference overview. First off, we're working in Webex, so all of you have been muted and your cameras turned off in order to save bandwidth for the recording of today's update. So the same is true if you call in by phone. You'll be able to hear everything, but not speak, or quite frankly, we'll not be able to hear you speak if you do. You'll be muted. If you have questions for presenters, you will need to use the Webex Chat Box. And in order to do that, locate the chat box symbol, which is a funny looking symbol, funny looking balloon on the screen. And you would click on that, and that's where you would enter comments or questions. So simply type in your question or comment in the chat box and hit send. As time permits throughout the day and throughout the presentations, we will then ask the question, pose the question as part of the presentation, so all can hear the question, and then hopefully have the answer for you, whether it's us or the presenters as part of the program at that time. With Webex, certainly, and with computer connections, sometimes they fail. So if that happens to you, try the link again that was sent to you in Mike's email, Mike Hill's email. If that doesn't work, there is also a phone number under audio conference. So you might listen in to the conference through that. On September 28th, the update recordings will be posted on the department's training page where you register. So that is another way for you to watch what you missed or finish watching the program, the update, if you're not able to fully watch it today. We do have a full day, certainly today. We're starting bright and early at 8 o'clock, and we will be going till 4 p.m. today. We have a 15-minute break this morning at 10:20 or till 10:35, and then a 1-hour lunch break from 11:35 to 12:35. Let me start out by walking through the agenda. I think all of you either have the access to the agenda right now or have downloaded or certainly can pull it up, but let me still go through it. After my presentation and comments this morning, beginning at 8:20, Dr. Russell Gelfman will be joining us. Dr. Gelfman his topic is described as Caught in the Middle, Divergent Care Perspectives in the Return to Work Process. After his 1-hour presentation, we will turn to Jessica Cicero. And Jessica's presentation is entitled Orthopedic Injection Therapy, Types, Effectiveness, and When Do They Work Best? After her 1-hour presentation, which ends at 10:20, we will have a 15-minute morning break. Again, that goes till 10:35. And at 10:35, Tom Kieselbach will be joining us, and his topic will be how a defense attorney prepares his file after getting a referral. His presentation will be a 30-minute presentation, and that presentation will be followed up by Kate Berger. Kate Berger is an attorney, longtime serving attorney in the General Counsel office here at the Department of Labor and Industry. And she will give a 30-minute update from 11:05 to 11:35 on the case law update. From 11:35 to 12:35, we have a lunch break, and that is the time certainly to make your phone calls, grab something to eat, stretch, get all comfortable for the next few hours of the day. So look forward to taking that break at that time. But we will start promptly again at 12:35 to 1:35, that 1-hour presentation from Mike Hill. And Mike's topic will be return to work services and COVID-19. At 1:35, and this is again another hour presentation till 2:35, John Weedle will give a presentation entitled Mastering Artificial Intelligence in Job Search. And then the final presentation of the day will be given by Dave Kempston, a plaintiff attorney who will address best practices or what should I do. Finally, at the end of the day will be an opportunity for questions you have that maybe weren't addressed earlier or questions you have at the department. And that will be about a 25-minute time window. And Mike Hill will be available to answer questions. And I believe we will have Kate Berger join us, again, our attorney from the General Counsel office, to be available to answer questions. It's important to note throughout the day that there might be times where presenters will start or stop a little bit earlier than what their time window shows. There'll be more opportunity for questions at that point. Otherwise, there may be a slight break. But the speakers themselves, they will be starting on time. So they will be starting on the time scheduled. You can plan on them all being timely. That's part of my job, actually, to assure that, mine and Mike Hill's job. So they will start on time. On the web page that you registered for the conference are PowerPoints of today's presentation. You may want to consider printing them off so you can write notes on them, as you will hear information not listed on the slide. Finally, on the DLI registration webpage were 2 documents we need you to email to, and this is the email address, Rehab Registration Specialist at state.mn.us, and do that before October 9th. The 2 documents are, one is the feedback form. It's very important we get that back from you. Feedback from you on today's conference. And there's an opportunity in that to also for you to present your ideas or propose ideas for future conferences that would benefit your work. The second document we need to have you send back before October 9th is the attendance verification form, so that you receive credit for attending this mandatory training. Again, we would request both those sent before October 9th to the department. And again, the email address is Rehab Registration Specialist, that's one word, at state.mn.us. So before we get started with the welcome, are there any questions, comments, or concerns about today's program that you have? Okay, with that, let's get started and let's get into the second piece of my part of the agenda, which is the welcome. Again, welcome and thank you for joining us. I first bring greetings from Commissioner Rosalind Robertson. Commissioner Robertson has been serving as interim commissioner of the Department of Labor and Industry. This is a temporary role. She had been the deputy commissioner, and she assumed the commissioner's role when the Minnesota Senate voted to not confirm former Commissioner Nancy Levy. Governor Walz will be appointing a new commissioner of the department. For all of you, the Department of Labor and Industry is certainly challenged by the pandemic. Almost all staff at the department are working remotely. And if they can, they should work remotely because that is the call of the administration and the governor's office. So the Workers' Compensation Division, we do have a few, I would say several staff that do work here in the main office in St. Paul. And the reason for that is we still largely operate a largely based paper system, which involves process of scanning documents and filings into our computer system. And also we still have a good deal of mail that comes into the building. In addition, we have our copy file review team that still makes copies of files per request from our computer system or files that are stored in the basement. COVID-19 has affected all of us, certainly. It's had a major impact on the economy, impact the way we live, the impact the way you provide your services as QRCs. And we all are concerned, certainly, for our own personal health, the health of our family, friends, and our community. This is an incredibly difficult time and challenging issue. And Mike Hill will address this topic at length in his presentation on return to work services and COVID-19 at 12:35. The new technology system Work Comp Campus was set to go live on August 31. But as you know, the department made the decision to delay the launch of Campus until November 2nd. The decision was made in response to direct feedback from stakeholders that continue to be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and require additional time to ensure their organizations are prepared for the business and technology transformation brought by the campus implementation. In the end, it will give all of us, including the department, the opportunity to be better prepared and ready to use the new system. The focus of today's update is not on Work Comp Campus, but let me note the efforts and the ways we will be working with you over the next 5 weeks prior to the 11/2 go live date. The department is hosting campus answer hour sessions for stakeholder groups, including rehabilitation providers. Campus answer hours are regularly scheduled virtual question and answer sessions about Work Comp Campus. Campus answer hour sessions provide opportunities for you to ask questions and get information about campus. These remote 1-hour sessions for rehab providers will be held every Friday at 11 a.m. And if you have not done so already, I urge you to go to our website and sign up for those answer hours. In addition, we will be conducting and offer training for rehab providers and other stakeholders as part of in the system. So look for those trainings to be offered in October prior to the go live date of November 2nd. In August, the department created a Work Comp Help Desk. This new Work Comp Help Desk takes calls, all Work Comp calls that come into the department, and these calls are answered by a live person. This help desk was created in part motivated by the go live of campus, but quite frankly, it has proven to be quite helpful for all callers to be able to talk directly to a person rather than immediately go into a voicemail box. Regarding campus legislation, a bill did pass and was signed into law early in the 2020 session that created a presumption for workers' compensation coverage of first responders, certain workers at corrections, detention, and secured treatment facility, and certain health and child care workers who contract COVID-19. The Workers' Compensation Advisory Council bill that was recommended by the council in March of 2020, this year, did not pass the legislature this year. Though there will likely be at least one more special session prior to the go-live date of campus, the bill is not likely to pass. The next Workers' Compensation Advisory Council meeting is in October, and at that point, the council will begin the discussion of legislation that it will consider to recommend to the legislature for the 2021 legislative session. I do have two other announcements to make. One is that the next orientation training for interns is scheduled for February 12, 2021. The next meeting of the department's Rehabilitation Review Panel, which meets on a quarterly basis, is scheduled for October 1, 2020. Like today's update, it will be conducted in the Webex format. So again, welcome to all of you, and I hope you all look forward to a full day of outstanding presentations by our speakers. And I encourage you again to pose comments, questions throughout today's program while the speakers are presenting, and hopefully the opportunity in many of the cases we'll be able to answer those questions during the presentation. If we are not able to answer those questions, whether during the presentations by the speaker or by the department, or at the end of the day when there's an open question and answer period, certainly you'll be welcome to send those questions into Mike Hill, and we will work to ensure that answers are provided to you. These are challenging times with the COVID pandemic, and as the department moves to a new technology system. So we encourage you to ask questions, whether directly through today's program, through the answer hours, or even again, emails, calls, whatever way you want to reach us to ensure we provide outstanding service to you, and again, resolve any questions and concerns you may have. With that, we do have a couple of minutes here before the next speaker, which begins at 8:20. So are there any questions or comments before we go to the next speaker at 8:20? Mike, do we have any questions that have come in or comments? You heard me just speak to Mike Hill. Mike Hill will be assisting us throughout the day as questions or comments come in. He will be, again, offering those comments or questions, in many cases, during the speaker's presentations. And so feel free to enter those comments or questions, because I'm guessing you'll have a number of thoughts or comments as our excellent speakers speak throughout the day.